Dr. King, they gave us guns and dope, they wanna stop a king. Trying to erase our history, stop and think. History class ain't tell us about Juneteenth. Got some give a damn about a Negro. Pull a trigger, kill a Negro, he's a cheat, bro. Us living life on welfare. The last one who cared was Obamacare, round 12. Nose kinda bloody, gotta keep fighting. Trump through the North Korea, they respect violence. If you ain't trying to have your city on fire for some respect on our name, we come from gold and diamonds.
Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power! We got to fight the power that be. Elvis was a hero of the month, but he never meant to me. You see, straight up racist, the sucker was simple and plain. Cause I'm black and I'm proud, I'm ready, I'm hyper, some amp. Most of my heroes on a piano stamp. Sample, look back, you look and find nothing but Reggae for 400 years and be checked.
Don't worry, we have
Was a number one jam. Dim if I said you could slap me right here. Get it.
Let's get this party started. Yeah.
Right on, come on. What we got to say? Power to the people, know the lay. Make everybody see. In order to fight the powers that be.
Yo, here.
Mathis, and rocking with me is my brother Wildman Teddy T, aka Baron Theo Mound Builder. What it do, bruh?
Hey, man, we're all right, man. We're doing all right. But you know what? You did that so good. I want you to do it again. You know what I mean? Bring it back again. It's Throwback Thursday, man. Do it again.
You ain't saying nothing but a thing. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Ask Mathis. I'm your host, Reginald Mathis, and rocking with me is my brother Wildman Teddy T, aka Baron Theo Mound Builder. What's good, sir?
Man, we here on location. Ask Mathis live.
Yeah, man, I am live in Sin City, y'all. I am in Las Vegas, and I have not been to sleep yet.
That's what I'm talking about.
I have not been to sleep yet. I've now been up for 27 hours. But it's all good. I'm here. We in one piece, man. We're out here dispensing justice, man, with the rider leading up to his birthday party, man. So, we'll be back in Miami, God's willing.
Will there be
Sunday.
Will there be a birthday party in Miami?
That's what I just said, Teddy T.
Okay.
I said, God's willing, we will be back in the MIA on Sunday, and we will be at Live.
That's right.
Living it up.
That's right.
At
That's right.
Live. So hopefully we can make it to that point, bro, because it seems like the rider is trying to do everything to prevent us from making it to Sunday. He's doing everything in his power. I said, bruh, I have a deposition in an hour and a half. No more shots for me. No more. I have a deposition in an hour and a half. You're going to be in La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be up working. No more shots, sir. I'm just getting off a plane. The plane was 2 hours delayed, bro, because of the weather yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time, we pull out, we actually leave. We're on the runway. Then we just stop and just say, hey, the weather should be over, soon, and we'll be on our way. Next thing you know, they say, they're telling us we got to come back. So we come back to the gate. Then we come back to the gate. The flight attendant comes on and says, our pilots have dutied out. Anybody familiar with duty time? Pilots are allowed to fly for 10-hour blocks.
Mm-hmm.
When they go beyond that 10-hour blocks, or if they're going to get beyond that 10-hour blocks, that's an issue. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. And so the 5-hour flight to Las Vegas, I guess they had just flown in from Panama. And so the 2 hours that we were waiting to take off, timed them out. So we had to wait. We had to get off the plane, wait for another pilot to come, then get back on the plane. So I ended up touching down, around 10:30, 10:40 Vegas time, which is already 1:30
Mm-hmm.
Miami time. So, I get to the hotel. The show is at the hotel. The show is at Hakkasan, at the MGM Grand.
Right.
So I get here to the show. They come out. They lit. I missed the show. I didn't make the show. They lit. I'm checking into the hotel, and then I just see the train of our people coming, and they lit. So Chronic hits me, and he's like, "Yo, where you at?" I said, "Man, I'm at the front desk, and I just saw the band of merry men, going." He was like, "Yeah, they just leaving. Everything is up in the room. All the food, all the drinks, everything up in the room." So Chronic, comes to where I'm at, and he just gave me the warning right there. He was like, "Bro, they gone already. They gone. They gone. They gone." So 786-801-0033, man. Y'all give us a call. You know what I'm saying? Of course, man, we are mourning the loss of one Queen Elizabeth II, the second longest reigning monarch, in British history. She reigned for over 70 years, died at 96. That's a great life, no matter, how you slice it. You make it 96 years above ground, you're doing something right.
That's right.
But I know you got a lot of people, who feel differently, especially in Jamaica and the islands and in, many of the African nations, man, and they don't speak so fondly, especially, when those crown jewels come up and they start looking at, the Hope Diamond, and they start looking at, certain diamonds that are part of that crown that are from Akiba land. So what do you say about it, Teddy? You are a resident, indigenous, outside of the box historian. So I'm sure you got something to say.
What you're looking at is the end of the matriarch, which was, a part of our indigenous culture that England was able to grasp when Queen Elizabeth came. You got Queen Victoria in Canada, and she is living off of the excerpts of the Dutch east-west trade route that King James created, which was slave, which was exploitation of natural resources. This is what brought Europe to where they are. You know what I'm saying? And so, as far as what she was and where she came from, I think Queen Elizabeth kept a very gray area. She never really, said she didn't dislike this, dislike that. She just did what she did and kept it moving to where I think now we're going to see it different with King Charles coming in as the patriarch, because he's going to have to, change certain elements to fit what is his oligarchy. So that's what's going to be the difference.
It's interesting that you say that, because they're saying the same thing with the United States. Why has the United States not apologized for slavery? They're saying the same reason that, the Queen has not apologized for imperialism and all those things, because one specifically leads to the other, and that is reparations.
That's right.
Nobody want to come back and give back all the gold. I heard some people say, I've been to the museum, British Museum in London, and it's a cool place. But when you think about it, Teddy, like, why does a museum in England have all these pharaohs, mummies, who were entombed? Like, they took it. You know what I mean? Like, they took the gold, they took the wealth, they took
Tomb
everything. They took it.
I mean, they make the movies about it, right? With Angelina Jolie, Indiana Jones. They
Tomb Raider, and
they show you the movies out.
Mummy, all those things. They they do it. So it's like, okay, I mean, do we not see the similarity between England and the United States, which is why they say, we're joined at the hip, literally, because, there will be no U.S. without backlash to what was going on in England, and there's backlash that's going on, with, you know, um, people of color in the United States, in terms of what, how this country was built on our backs, no days off, no days off to build this country, to make it what it is. And then all of a sudden, you wonder why, some people are illiterate, can't read, can't write, don't have ties to family and whatnot. And, when it was, par for the course to separate families, to separate families. So, this man is living with this family over here, and, for whatever reason, to pay for some debts, or or somebody died and, was bequeathed in a will, to somebody else, to lead that family, and then to go and start another family as if you never had a family. Like those things don't just, those aren't natural things, that occur. And all you got to do is go to, any nation you want to go to in Africa, and see that's not how they deal with each other. Like the family is just as strong as it is for a Korean family, a Mexican family. People talk about family values from other cultures and what they bring to the table. We have that same, natural inclinations. But when somebody goes out of their way to breed you in a certain way, to reject family and end up, ultimately we don't trust one another, and to kill each other, and to come up with an entire art form where we praise, the killing and the exploitation of each other. And we wonder why we're in the situation that we're in right now. And just to change to a little politics right now, Teddy, I say I got my brother Captain Kirk over there hiding in the cut.
I'm
DJ
here.
Newkirk, what it do, bro?
What's going on, my brother? How are you doing today?
Chilling, man. Did you see the movie Friday, of course?
Which one?
Friday.
The movie Friday, yes.
Right. I'm looking at myself as the Chicos who sold the weed to Chris Tucker's character. He ain't never want to. They always say, "Hey, what's up, man? Let me bring me some stuff, Smokey." And he didn't want to deal with them no more because he said he had a bad encounter with them one time. That's how I feel, Teddy. When I took Newkirk, to the spot, bro. I'm thinking Newkirk. Newkirk don't never want to go nowhere with me no more.
We had a good time, man. We had a good time. We did.
All right, that's what it is. I was concerned about you, young whippersnapper, man. I want to make sure.
I was kind of like, I never heard the aftermath story. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to him to come in like, oh man, I was out there with Mathis, man. And, I didn't hear about it till y'all started talking about it the other day, and I was like, oh okay. At least I'm hearing a little bit. He was a virgin to the situation. He had never really participated in Negro activities like that.
That's a lie.
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying? So
that's a lie. That is a lie. Do not believe the hype.
Mrs. Newkirk has, she is a family member of the show. She is a friend of Ask Mathis. So I was trying to prevent that phone call. Put your mama on the phone. Put your mama on the phone. I ain't never coming home. Put your mama on the phone. I put one of them animals on Newkirk.
Had a good time.
I put one of them animals on Newkirk, Teddy. I started looking over, and I was just like, nah, I'm making it too easy for him. I'm making it too easy for him because he ain't having to do nothing.
Right.
He ain't having to do nothing. Just be him. Just be the shy guy.
That's it.
Just be the shy guy.
No slaps. Just take it easy. You know what I mean?
Chill it.
No taking advantage.
Just be the shy guy. I heard the lady say everything's taken care of. Everything's taken care of. And he just threw his hands back like
no slapping and gripping for me, baby. No slapping and gripping for me. I can't slap and grip. I can just,
he just threw him back, bro. He just threw him back, man. So it's always a pleasure to have Captain Newkirk, here with us, man. On
I
Ask
appreciate
Mathis.
it.
So here's one of those punk moves, man. One of these punk moves, our governor is making, bro. Once again. So have you heard the latest? The latest, y'all.
What happened
We
now?
are sending migrants to Martha's Vineyard, bro.
Oh my God.
Why?
Because Governor Abbott is doing it from Texas, and he's getting some, kudos for sending them to Chicago, sending them to DC, and sending the people to New York. So they get caught at the border. They putting them on buses and sending them to, all these other places. Now, to these liberal havens where they feel that, y'all remember the talk about sanctuary cities and whatnot, all the places that are pro-immigrant, which is, where they're not enforcing the laws of, you hate to call any person illegal, but, folks who are in the country illegally or unlawfully, you have these folks down in these governors in the border towns. But, bro, we don't border anybody. So, how, what I'm saying? Like, you can't walk to Florida from another country.
Nope.
Can't walk to us from another country. So, if we catch them in Florida, they get sent back now. We don't even have the wet foot, dry foot policy anymore. They get sent back now.
I thought some
Cubans too get sent back
Cubans. I thought some Cubans just recently had that situation, and some of them was able to get on land, but the other ones was on the ship had to go back. But the ones that made it on land are, fighting for their asylum.
Well, the ones that made it on land were going to get clothed and fed and then sent back to Cuba. It used to be that once they made it over here, it was like, boom, they made it. That's not the case anymore. That wet foot, dry foot, which was clearly discriminatory because, it's like, that's crazy. Like the Haitians are coming over here the same way, and then boom, you sending them back, but then the Cubans are coming over here, and it's like, oh no, you get to stay and you get paid. So
that goes back to the Spanish, the Spanish laws of Spain, and that's like Miami, is still holding on to certain Spanish laws. You know what I mean, with the element of what they're doing in Hialeah and everything. Like in Louisiana, they still have the French laws. You know what I'm saying? From that, so this is the elements of what we have to look at from that.
Yeah, but I mean that's a stunt. Like that is the definition of the stunt. Like you sending these folks to Martha's Vineyard, bro. Like, come on, man. That is the definition of a stunt, bro. Like we can do better. And especially when they look at that price tag, it's cost up to this point. It's cost millions of dollars that Texas is spending millions of dollars on these buses, right? Sending these folks without any kind of warning. Like they aren't calling. And this is Mayor Lightfoot out of Chicago. She's like, Chicago, we'll do what we have to do to welcome these human beings, But, these governors who are sending these folks to us, they aren't calling, they aren't coordinating, which lets you know they don't see the humanity of somebody who just risked their life literally, to come over here. Like, once a month, bro, we see how folks trying to make it from Mexico, to the United States are dying, in the back of 18-wheeler trucks, bro, from heat exhaustion and from all these, just unbearable conditions, sex trafficking, all these things, all this exploitation that's going on. And so, there definitely needs to be some form of comprehensive immigration reform. No doubt, no question about that. And even, Democratic politicians are saying that there needs to be something going on with the border, whether you build a wall, or at least smartly, create the impediments to folks just coming in. Those, it's like the rhetoric that we hear on both sides, like nobody listens to the other person. Like if you live in Arizona or you live in some parts of Texas, you're not going to want, or California, where people like showing up, just walking through your backyard all day. Most of our colleagues are not familiar with that, but I'm sure the brothers and the sisters are familiar. If you got a house on the corner, or you got a house that, borders some other place, and society has chosen to use your crib as a path, to catch 3, 4, 5 in the morning, somebody just randoms just walking through your backyard, bro, just walking through your yard all day. That's not safe. And that's not cool. But, folks have not come together, and they need to come together. And sorry to cut you off, Newkirk. What was you saying?
No, Martha's Vineyard. I mean, that's an expensive place to live. So it's going to be a lot of complaints, a lot of backlash from that, and they're going to have to do something about it. And also on top of that, Biden has went back on his word about no building no wall, and said that he's going to be building walls in certain places or certain states.
But that was, supposedly that was the original plan. When Trump initially announced, his bid back in, for 2016, and he was like, we're going to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it and all that stuff or whatever. Like, the smart people were saying, listen, it doesn't even make sense, or it's not even possible to build a wall everywhere. However, if you got a big mountain, or you got the Rio Grande River, a natural, maybe a drone, maybe drones flying over that is the best method, as opposed to, going into the water and erecting this thing as some monument, to you, which is essentially, I think, what Trump wanted to do. He wanted a monument. He wanted to put his name, like the Great Wall of China, and just this thing. But there's been, remember, the legislation that is actually passed, where he's like, and I got the money for the wall. He got the money for repairs, because there was already an existing structure that was in place. He got the money to repair, but he turned that into doing something else. And, some of the money he diverted from the military to go in and build. But I don't have an issue with securing the nation. I don't have an issue with that. I don't. Personally, I don't.
No.
I don't.
You got to have that. You got to have that, but I think it just got to be at the right place and for the right reasons.
Yeah. And we had I guess for the country, many of our colleagues and comrades were not even aware of what type of crisis that just got averted. You familiar with the rail crisis, Teddy?
Rail, no.
Newkirk, you familiar with the rail crisis?
The railroad?
Yes.
The strike right now that was going on?
They just averted that strike. So what do you recall, or what do you know, or what have you heard about this strike, Newkirk?
The last thing I heard was that the president said that they need to come together and get it, come to an agreement, but they were not trying to come to the table or come to an agreement.
Here's something that I did not know. Over 70% of the goods in this country comes by way of rail.
That's right.
And trucks.
That's right.
In conjunction. So we're not talking about Amtrak. When I first heard about the rail situation, I'm like, man, don't nobody ride Amtrak nowhere.
I was thinking the same thing.
Bruh, they ain't talking about that. They talking about freight.
Freight
about freight. And the workers are unionized, right? And they have a national union. And the issue is, all the railroads are not owned by the nation. They aren't owned by the nation. They're owned by private companies. So you're talking about, and because it's a national union, you're talking about folks who may have issues in Ohio or Illinois. You know what I'm saying? But if they go on strike, everybody had to go on strike. That's how they roll. So Biden, and then that was another thing that was kind of interesting and weird, is because everybody knew that as a senator, President Joe Biden caught Amtrak every day. He went to work from Delaware to DC. So they was like, oh, we got a railroad man in the office. So folks is, I know when I first heard, I'm like, oh man, like dang, even Amtrak coming against you, Joe. That's tough, bro, because wasn't nobody talking about Amtrak. But no, it's that's what it is, and that's
when you watch how America was built, and with the commodities that were being created at the same time, the railroad was very important of these people moving the commodities, and that was the private setting. Like I remember the people, they had the spot in Detroit, and they was moving the different things, and it was like a deal that they all made together to keep it going. But that's like Monopoly. When you play Monopoly and the railroads is on the Monopoly, that lets you know that's all private enterprise.
Definitely. One of the great documentaries that they air and broadcast multiple times a year is on Flagler, and how Henry Flagler and his rail basically developed Florida. When you talk about just how it was, and Teddy always alludes to the fact that, for the longest, Florida was a part of Spain, and Florida being a part of Spain, just jurisdictionally, like, it really ended. It was really Jacksonville. It was the Panhandle. Jacksonville to Pensacola. Tallahassee was, the capital because it was in the middle, or it was in between Jacksonville, Pensacola. Like that was really what was going on, and what happened underneath that, was like no man's land. Like just imagine right now how it is to break down on I-75 Alligator Alley. Right now, when you talking 2022, you break down right now and you go walking. You go walking.
Nah,
Not down there.
No, sirree.
Right.
Not survive.
So imagine, bro. Imagine in the 1800s. Imagine in the 1800s, bro. Like what you having to encounter, bro. Ain't nobody had no appetite for that. So you got to give a shout out to, those 140 incorporators for the city of Miami who worked, those Black African American incorporators, for city of Miami in 1896. Look at the charter and you'll see that, city of Miami would not have been chartered, would not have been incorporated, but it not been for those Black railroad workers, who came in. And when you look at Overtown, that was called Colored Town back then, that was to house, the folks that was building these railroads and these communities that sprung up from, the railroad work. Then you look in Coconut Grove, that's, you talking about the Bahamians who have been coming to Florida via boat, a whole nother way. They was coming via boat from the Bahamas. So there was a whole different type of vibe and a whole different type of culture that was going on. Like Florida wasn't like the Florida that we see today. Like it was separated. You had, the Seminoles, you had the Miccosukee, you had, all these indigenous people, who were living in peace, so to speak, because when nobody trying to come up in there, Osceola had already showed them. Had already showed the country, man, leave these people be. It's mosquitoes, it's snakes, it's tigers, panthers, and all that stuff. So they didn't want it. But when the railroad came in, bro, and when you see specifically Henry Flagler and how they, was able to, the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach, direct connection to the railroad, and then building that railroad going down to the Keys, bro, because the Keys it's like a whole nother country.
Yep.
There wasn't no cars.
Dana Dorsey set that up. Like Flagler went from Palm Beach up, and Dana Dorsey did from the Keys from there. That's why all that's Dorsey Benz. And Dana Dorsey was in Georgia when Henry Flagler called him to come down. He was in Georgia, and Dana was the Bahamian, and that's why Coconut Grove was the first city. And all the way like Overtown, then Liberty City, and all the way when you see Hollandale, Pompano, like these were the areas where the workers worked at. The still black corridors of today. That's the element of understanding, the history of the land. And it's like even when they talk about the Indians, the black people, they say, we always had to put shoes on the Indians and feed the Indians. They was always so poor. And these were the black families who were already set up and connected already.
Wow, that's interesting, man. That's what it is. So tonight. Let's not say tonight because we're dealing with video mix. So we ain't gonna say tonight. We're gonna say week 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna say week 2 in the NFL, and they got a sense of humor, bro. You see how, in week 1. They had Denver playing Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the former teams play each other. The NFL definitely got a sense of humor when it comes to, their scheduling and what happens. Like everybody's trying to profit from controversy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Controversy sells. So
the game with Monday, it was they said whose fault was it? Was it the coach's fault? Was it Denver's fault, or was it Wilson's fault? And everybody was like, "What was the coach they called to play?" And it was always big to see Denver and Seattle, to see what Wilson was going to come back, but always the coaching is always going to come back to have something to say at the end of the day. They're the ones calling the plays.
Hey, a 62-yard field goal attempt.
Hey.
You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win very many. You're not gonna. Nah. Yeah. He looking like, huh? What? But it looked good. It looked good. It just went to the left.
That's it.
Went to the left.
What was that field goal?
62.
What was his longest kick?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Bro, when you and they was in Seattle, if they was in Denver, maybe he would have made that.
Mm-hmm.
That altitude, that miles high. Denver would usually have the the best field goal kicker because you're talking about that altitude, ball sailing.
Mm-hmm.
In that altitude, it's a unfair advantage, I think. Playing in that altitude, but I think week 1 was pretty successful. I thought it was a pretty
definitely the drama's there. Like in week 2 is already set because you got the people of Tampa who's watching on Video Mix. They're excited because they're playing New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be a big game right there, New Orleans and Tampa right there.
Yeah, and they talking about Grizel Brady, Tom Brady's wife, is not too happy right now, with him playing. But some of Tom Brady's former teammates is saying, bro, that's the last thing. It's like, man, once that man stepped foot on this field, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
He got it.
Takes care of himself. Yep. And then they said Dak Prescott is not going to be out for as many weeks. He's going to come back within 4 games. So we're going to see how that.
Bro, you already know Jerry Jones. And, right, I like
12 weeks. Hell no.
Don't be surprised if he don't come hobble his ass out there this week, bro. Don't. You know what I mean? Hey, Jerry Jones, bro. Jerry Jones might, audition to be like, What's love got to do with it too?
Mm-hmm.
You playing Ike Turner.
That's it.
Dak, hey, old Dak boy, what you talking about? You can't got 8-6. No, boy, we got San Antonio. We got
Not
all
around
these
here.
guys like Ike Turner, bro. What you talking about? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. He's like, boy, I got your mama, I got everybody tied up in the Brooklyn basement right now, bro. You better get up out of here. You see this man playing with tears in his eyes from the pain. He like, man, you better get out there. You best to get out there and get.
That's it.
Get out there. Get out there and get, man.
They thought your man in Kansas City, they thought his wrist was, because he hurt his wrist in the game, but he still threw for 4 touchdowns. And but afterwards they tested and everything and they say he's good to go. So he's still moving.
So week 2 gets underway. The Chargers versus the Chiefs. Both teams undefeated.
Tomorrow. Yes.
Talking,
today, that's today. That's tonight, right?
This week.
Yes.
Tonight.
Yes.
It's tonight.
Yes.
It's tonight. It's Thursday night football.
Tonight. Yes. And you're talking about the Jets versus the Browns, the Panthers versus the Giants, the Colts versus the Jaguars, the Commanders, formerly the Washington Redskins, versus Detroit Lions, the Dolphins versus the Ravens.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. Tampa Bay versus the Saints, New Orleans, the Patriots versus the Steelers, the Seahawks versus the 49ers, the Falcons versus the Rams, the Texans versus the Broncos. I think put all your money on Wilson this week. Y'all hear me? Put all your money on Wilson. The 425 game, Sunday, September 18th. Put all your money on Wilson. They're gonna beat the brakes off the Houston Texans. Wilson gonna look awesome. That's just how he, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be his rebound comeback game. Because all the controversy is gonna be like, hey, did they invest too much in Wilson? Blah, blah, blah. Sierra, stop putting it on him before the games, all that stuff or whatever. Like, nah, you see where I'm at. I'm out in Vegas, bro. I got to go. I got to go handle that.
So
I got to go handle that. I got to go put a little something on. I got to go put a little something on Denver. And then Cincinnati versus the Cowboys. I think Cowboys go on too. I think the Cowboys go on too, bro. And it's going to be a riot after that. The Cardinals versus the Raiders. Both teams are 0-1. In fantasy, man, I have Murray. Kyler Murray is my quarterback. So I'm looking for, breakthrough game for him. Chicago Bears versus the Packers. Look for the Packers, I think. I think the Packers going to take that. Aaron, because they're 0-1. Packers lost their opening week. So look for Aaron Rodgers to do his thing this week. Tennessee Titans versus the Bills. To me, that's going to be the game. That's the Monday night game. That's going to be the game because Tennessee is 0-1 and Buffalo is 1-0. Buffalo looks like a Super Bowl contender, but Tennessee can't go down 0-2. They can't go down 0-2, bro. And then you're going to have 2 Monday night games. So you're going to have Tennessee versus Buffalo, and then you're going to have Minnesota versus the Eagles. Both teams are undefeated. So week 2, man, week 2 looks like it's going to be action-packed. And, the NFL is off to a good start. Nobody's out there protesting right now. The ghost of Colin Kaepernick, is not abounding in the stadiums right now. And nobody trying to hit that right now. Ain't trying to hit that. So,
are you going to any games?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go to some Dolphin games, bro. Like 4:00 games or Sunday night games or that 1:00, bro. That's Death Wish, man. That 1 o'clock sun out there, bro.
It's hot.
That's come on, man.
Been out there in it.
That's
At a Buffalo
too
and
much.
Miami game, it was hot.
Nah, that's too much, bro. I can't do that, bro. It's too much, sir. It's too much, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. So, brother Newkirk, man, I sent you some stuff, man. I don't know if you have it pulled up, man. I wanted to talk about, of course, man. Shout out to my brother Trav, man, over at Metro West, that's holding it down. Appreciate it, man. And something that for our incarcerated brothers and sisters that's checking us out right now. This discussion, man, pay close attention. And that, of course, is the tragic robbery, murder of, P&B, Philadelphia rapper, that happened in Los Angeles, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. So, you got folks coming out, man, giving their opinions. Ice-T, is basically saying like, hey, this still LA. Like, y'all gonna stop playing with LA. This the gang capital of the world. Don't be coming out here being all flashy and you not you
ain't checked in. You got to check in. If you ain't checked in,
bro, you got to have you a big homie.
You got to check in.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I came in, we're talking 2011. When I came in 2011 and we started going to LA, and I'm like, who's this guy around there, whatever? That's the homie. Like that's the homie. And it's like, what, it's no, they known each other a long time, blah, 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 blah. But then after a while, and you start seeing what's going on, you like, bruh, you really have to have a chaperone. Like you say what you want. I don't care who it is. They come in there and be like, oh, bro, we don't, I go anywhere. I come, blah, blah, blah. Bruh.
Yeah, okay.
LA, those streets are very unforgiving, bruh. We got an artist, bro, who got robbed, about, I want to say, probably 30 yards from us.
Wow.
Like, maybe you know what I mean? Like, that's how.
Yeah, I didn't know it happened.
Right. We didn't even know what happened, bro. Like, you going chasing some broad and, you know what I'm saying? You walking her to the car, you thinking you doing whatever, and you blinging and you stunning or whatever. Come back. Bro, what happened to you? Oh.
Damn.
Yo, that what happened to you. Got it. So we long known, how it goes and how you supposed to step.
Right.
And then of course you have, everybody has an opinion. You had Nicki Minaj. I don't know, Newkirk, if you have, just the different opinion pieces by, the various people, Ice-T, Nicki Minaj.
Ice-T up right now.
Okay, so we'll just go through what you have and just see, and we'll come back and talk about it on the other end. Here on Ask Mathis, 786-801-0033, y'all.
Make sure you're checking in. Big shout out to everybody in Orlando. Big shout out to everybody in Tampa that's watching this on Video Mix. We got a lot of fans up in those areas, so big shout out
to Congresswoman, soon-to-be Senator Val Demings.
Yeah.
She putting in that work, bro. She definitely, I'm sure she probably made your boy Marco. He probably got hemorrhoids right now, bro. He worried. You know what I'm saying? Because she own him, bro. She own Marco every day, all day. Shout out to that sister, man. But I saw something disturbing. If you remember Teddy T, and I was telling you about, it's going to be messed up. Like, this lady was the chief of police. And guess what I saw yesterday? A big billboard on the Palmetto 826. It says Florida Police Benevolent Association stands with Rubio.
Ooh.
Big billboard, bruh. Like, oh man. Like, why do we have to be so predictable? It's like, yo, this sister's coming in with not only just, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night and I was a police. No, this lady rose all the way to be the chief of police. The chief of police, and the police not supporting her, bro.
Yep.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I hate to be like, hidden racism. I hate to be like that, but
right there.
it's just
It is.
like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Come
Hey.
on. So you got to pull it up, Newkirk?
All right, so where'd you want to go first? We got
No, we just follow you, bro. Just play them all, so we can just get various opinions.
okay, you got David. This is David Cruz. Just Zoe. This joint right here. You sent me this one right here. Is David Cruz. Just Zoe.
Oh well, David Cruz. That's the brother that's on this spiritual journey. The boxer. And so David Cruz made his way down to Florida. Like David Cruz has just been on this spiritual mission from God. And he's just been, like walking. Say he's not accepting food, drinks, water, like nothing. He's just coming in, just saying he has a message. You got to roll up and see him. And Kodak was looking for him the other day because he heard he was looking for Kodak. So it was cool to see that they finally linked up. And I saw Zoe Dollars, posted a photo of David Cruz that he was able to link up with him. But anybody that's been in his presence.
That's what I was showing. Zoe and David Cruz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can show a picture of David Cruz, man, for those who don't know him. And I don't know if you have a picture of David Cruz before he embarked on his journey, where you see this guy physically fit, world-class fighter who just said, man, he just got inspired by God to just walk and, advocating for world peace.
Right.
Yep. I had a woman that did that. I met her in Tallahassee at Demp Week, and I helped her come through Jacksonville all the way when she got down here. I let her stay at the Embassy Suites. Ted Lucas gave her a little sniping. She walked from Cleveland down here. It happens. People get on the exodus and take off.
So was it not inspired by the Tom Hanks movie? Forrest Gump?
I mean, everybody has their own, this lady, she was at the top of her setting, and it was more so she kind of was full of herself, and she realized how full of herself she was, and, not helping out her family members, so she gave everything away to everybody, and she just started walking.
Okay.
So different things. One thing about people, and you're dealing with God. When God talks, people listen. And that's to the point when you can actually listen and follow the directions that. I tell people, you don't know what can happen. You got to just make those steps, because if it's right, God gonna make it good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. He puts his people sometimes in precarious situations just to get them out. You look at, the children of Israel, coming out of Egypt, keeping them, 40 years,
right.
In the forest, giving them the opportunity to, resort to false and fake and idol gods, to the point that Moses got frustrated. And he got frustrated and, went up to pray. And, that's when he supposedly came down with those 10 commandments, and then had to battle with the people. It was like, yo, didn't we lead y'all out of bondage from Egypt? Didn't we part the Red Sea and all that?
They're like, we good now.
People, what have you done for me lately? It's like, yo, we feeding you with ambrosia.
That was a couple of months ago, but what's up now?
Bro, and what about this? And why we gotta eat this ambrosia every day? You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I'm gonna feed you with this manna, this bread of this bread of heaven. I'm gonna feed you every day. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna taste better than anything you ever had. Just don't collect it. It's gonna be there for you every day. But what have you done for me lately? That's what our folks on. That's what they've always been on. And so, God seems to, want to test his people. Daniel in the lion's den. He put this man and and the lion, and spared them, and spared them. So that's what it is. But Newkirk, let me know, man, so we can move on if we can't.
Yeah, we got. I was just letting you. I was letting you go. Let me see. We got. Let's see, get something else up for you. Mano. Mano has something to say.
Yeah.
Believe that if you can successfully become a rapper, successfully somehow get yourself out of the streets and into industry, that it would kind of insulate you or magically keep you out of harm's way. Like once you became an artist, like you were supposed to kind of like magically been out of the way of some of the violence and some of the hardships that we was going through when we was in the streets. Like I really believed that. I really thought that, becoming an artist or getting in the industry was a way out of some of the violence and some of the shit that was happening in our lives. Like that was the way out, not a way in. But if these recent years ain't taught us one thing, it taught us that ain't even true. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. In fact, being a rapper or entertainer or any notable person that is identifiable to some degree, it may increase the chances of danger, violence, whatever. It may make that. Man, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Like, music was supposed to be like the way out. That was what I always believed. Like we didn't escape the trenches and the danger and the peril and all this other shit. We didn't make it past all the shit in the street just to become artists and change our lives and then die violently as if we never even left the street in the first place.
Wow. Well,
how like ironic is that?
Mano definitely, makes a point, a very interesting point. In terms of like, what are you doing it for? It's like you want, folks. Remember it used to be a big deal, said, during the initial beef between Ice Cube and NWA. Ice Cube left, and some of the raps that were going back and forth was talking about, oh, you done moved up out of Compton. You done moved out and, Dre, he done moved over here and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Ice Cube don't stay in Compton no more. You know what I'm saying? But if you remember at the time, it was a point that he had made, that you giving him a point when he was saying, oh, Dre done moved out. He done moved out of the hood. But I think those people understand, and the people from the hood know better. Like, it's hard to stay in the hood. It's hard to stay in the hood. And this goes, to me, it goes back to integration. It goes to the fact that, prior to integration, you had everybody in one spot.
Yeah.
Doctors, lawyers, accountants, pimps, preachers, postal workers, all in one spot. So you can look out for the community and people who was doing okay or doing well. You had, doctor you can call in an emergency, take the patient to the doctor's house, and the doctor would treat you. That's no doctors living, in the beans no more. Ain't no doctors living, in those situations no more. So, that's my take on it. My take on it is, hurt people hurt people.
So do you believe
hurt people?
Because a lot of people, that's one reason that people have to move out of the hood, right? Because they can't go ahead and be safe in their own, no matter how long. But I mean, you look at Boosie. Boosie had to leave Louisiana because people was trying to get him. You know what I'm saying? So it's how do you, be with the community, but stay safe if you're not moving outside the community.
I mean, yeah, definitely, absolutely. So, I appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. Teddy T, what you got?
Nah, man, I just want to say big ups to Young Miami, who was just in 4 months has been nominated for a BT nomination for Best Platform for Carisha Please.
I like that Miami interview she did with Saweetie. That was cool.
That was nice. I've liked all of her interviews because the people have felt comfortable to be themselves and they've letting things go. Like her and Megan Thee Stallion had a great interview. Her and Kevin Gates had an interview.
And her and Diddy off rip.
They had
great,
you know what I'm saying? Her and JT, her partner, had a great interview. You got to learn a lot of different things about that. So, I think it's just the good things that what the City Girls are doing for the, females of Miami and females around the world, man. So big ups to a girl, Carisha, Young Miami. And tonight, R&B Thursday at Studio 183 is going down. I'm also got I Love R&B in Wynwood at the Joint in Miami. It's an R&B night tonight. Keep it sexy, and big shouts to all the Virgos. Sunday night is Virgo party at Live with Flowrider, and Freezy got it at Studio 183. So tonight, video mix watchers, y'all come on out. Studio 183 is going down. And big shout out to everybody in Orlando, Tampa, that love us, because we love you back.
For sure. All right, we out of here.